right, hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing? Cool, cool. I'm going to share a story with you today. That is what I'm going to do. You down to hear a story? Let's do this. So, the story begins a graduation weekend. It wasn't my graduation, my sister Allison's. I have two younger sisters. Allison's graduating high school Friday night. Saturday night, my youngest sister Haley, just like a little one, she's in her first ever dance recital. Saturday morning, I sleep in. My girlfriend Robin is not happy with me. I've been out partying after the graduation ceremony. It's not a good morning. But come like the dance recital, watching my little sister up on the stage, we're all cool. We're good, Robin and I. And I remember afterwards wrestling around with my little sister Haley, throw up in the air, catching her, twirling around, you know, like a big brother does. I look back on that weekend, there was never really a moment where I thought life could be like going sideways, change forever. Maybe last time I ever do that with my little sister. I didn't think that way. I didn't see it coming. I was gonna have a chill night Saturday, but the phone rang, house party, was never really one to turn down a party. Hopped in my car, drank a beer as I drove to that party. I walked into the party. Ran these old school hockey buddies. I'm from Canada, what up? So I grew up playing hockey, obviously. We love our hockey. You got a good hockey team here. Yeah. Bolts, yeah, right, yeah. All right, we got some hockey players, hockey fans, nice. So I just hadn't seen the hockey pals in a while. It had been a little while. So it's on. We're partying hard. We decided to leave that party in my car. I shouldn't have been driving. I was a crazy driver, sober, let alone beers in me. Kind of gets a little blurry. I know we're leaving the last party of the night. My buddies make a smart choice. They call a taxi to get home safe, chipping a few bucks each, get a safe ride home. Many years later, no regrets. Many years later now, we got like Ubers, we got Lyfts, lots of options. I had plenty of better options than driving drunk that night. Could have walked home, could have slept at the party, could have called for a ride. I didn't even have to call for a ride though. My parents knew what I was up to. My nickname in those days was the Creature. Yeah, they knew what Creature was doing on the weekends. And I just got my first vehicle. So they're like, this is a bad combination. And call it parental instinct, whatever, man, both my parents. They just like had this feeling like something's up tonight, like something's not good. And they're calling me and they're texting me and they're just like not leaving me alone. I stopped answering. I wish I hadn't have. That ride was there. And if you got that person you can call or calls you that gets you home safe, whatever the reason, should you ever need it, get you out of a jam, doesn't even have to be you driving, maybe somebody else, whatever it is. If you got that going on, sweet deal. I mean, get home safe. Get your friends home safe. If you're a driver, get people home safe. Looking back, I wish I'd have made that call that night. Could have done my thing, picked up my car the next day. I wouldn't be rolling around in this wheelchair right now. It's really as simple as that. I wanted to drive. I always drove. I'm warming the car up. My buddy Brendan jumps out of the taxi. We're gonna keep this party going. We're going to another friend's house. We didn't make it. I figured I was going like 70, 80 miles an hour in a 50 zone. Way too fast while I was sober, let alone drunk. And not just drunk, I'm like excessively drunk. Excessively speeding. New driver, inexperienced. Know me, music's full blast, beers are cracked in the car, partying like we had been all night. Totally distracted. Don't have to be on a phone to be distracted, you know? Got a bunch of people in the car, not pay attention to what's going on. You can be distracted driving. And like one of those things is enough to cause a crash. You were my 28th school this month down here in Florida. It's been an epic month for sure. I love this school too. I was here some years ago. I do a lot of schools down here because young people are dying in crashes. And you know what, it's this age group and it's mostly guys. It's mostly us because, you know, we're invincible, right? We're young. And it's these things we were doing that night that cause these crashes. And you got one of those things under your belt, if you're driving now or you will be soon. Whenever you start driving, that's inexperience. I play a little bit of guitar. If you got any musicians in here, they say 10,000 hours till you're an expert guitar player. So you apply that logic to driving, that's a lot of driving, 10,000 hours till we're like a good driver. Inexperience. I got booze in me, so I'm making bad choices. Distracted, not really knowing what's going on around me. And then the most deadly of all was the speeding. 70, 80 miles an hour. I drive around with like a little hand control in a rental car. I've been driving all over the highways here, speaking in like Palm Beach County, Miami-Dade, Broward, here, like all over. A lot of highway driving. People drive fast out here. And speed limit's usually like 60, 65, maybe 55. You know, the average speeder going by you is probably going something like 70, 80 miles an hour. That speed, my car hit like a tiny little curb, and it flew, airborne, just hit the ground, boom, 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 boom. Stops rolling, it's upside down, it's a mangled mess. My friend Brendan and I were both seriously hurt. He hit his head, very serious head injury. I hit my head too. My head injury was mild, they say, upper body devastated, dislocated left shoulder, separated right shoulder, busted both my collarbones, torn to shreds in the broken glass, losing a ton of blood. Fractured a vertebrae in my neck where my neck and back meet that did damage to my spinal cord. And on top of all that, I had a collapsed lung, which is life-threatening. And I didn't know how close I came to death that night till some years later. I speak in a high school near my home. One of the guys in the room goes home. He's talking to his mom afterwards, a student. I love that. Share this story, please. His mom remembers my name. His mom remembers that night, that story. She's a paramedic. She was in my car that night. She reaches out to me. Keeps saying over and over, it's super emotional. She's like, it's a miracle you're alive. The only reason you're alive is you're wearing your seatbelt. Seatbelt saved your life, Kevin. That is one thing I always did. Terrible driver, admit that. You know, back in the day. But I always wear my belt. It's like one good driving habit. It saved my life twice over. Idea behind a seatbelt is we're inside a vehicle, whatever speed that vehicle's going, we're going the same speed, we're in it. If it crashes, hits something, comes to a stop, we're not wearing a belt, we keep going at that speed, maybe faster, through a window, whatever you might hit next. Then you've got this vehicle, all that weight, momentum rolling behind you, maybe crushing you afterwards. Probably seen like a commercial before where they crash up a car or a truck. Like, vehicles are tested to take those hits. Our bodies are not. So we stay inside, let the vehicle take the impact, better chance of us walking away, surviving. Saved my life once there, I didn't fly out. And then when my car started rolling, it was upside down. Because I was like in my seatbelt, I was hanging upside down, sitting in the driver's seat. I was told that positioning saved my life. Unconscious, bleeding, collapsed lung. Any other way I'd have landed, paramedics said blood, fluid pools into my lungs. I'd drown, I'm dead. Hung upside down, fluid trickled out of me. Seatbelt saved my life twice. I don't remember all that, like the lights, the sirens, the whole scene, the jaws of life, the ambulance ride, the hospital. My family fills me in a lot of the next parts. And it starts with that phone call. It's that dreaded phone call no one ever wants to get for someone they care for or love. And not to be harsh or anything, but straight up, of course, no one who cares for or loves you wants that phone call for you. Which is why a lot of organizations in this state bring me all the way from Vancouver to do this. It's why the schools got you out of class to all come in here and hear this, you know, like, nobody wants that call. Or worse yet, the knock on the door. Knock on the door means we didn't live. My family got the call. Son, your brother's been in a horrible crash. It's bad. Get to the hospital. Maybe the last time they see me alive. They were in shock, to say the least. Not prepared for what they're going to see. My body swelled to double the size. One big bruise. My lip was cut right through. My arm was like torn to shreds from going through the window. My mom, first time looking at my arm, thought they might have to amputate it. Looked that bad. I might lose an arm. I'm grateful I didn't lose an arm. One arm in a wheelchair makes nothing but circles. Wheelchair joke number one. Thank you very much. I'm gonna crack a few jokes up here. I'll explain why. Like, if I met you outside of here, all I'd be doing is cracking jokes, messing with you, sarcastic, like, that is me. My first instinct is always crack a joke. This is obviously a pretty serious story. I can't just be up here telling jokes the whole time, but I tell a few, because it kind of breaks it up, you know, so it's not just all like intense and heavy for you, for me, so you cool if I crack a few jokes? Yeah, all right, sweet. They're gonna be kind of like cheesy dad jokes, you know? I'm in a high school, I can't be cussing up here, telling dirty jokes or anything. I like this school. I do have some dirty jokes, I'll be honest. I tell those usually like in comedy clubs. I do comedy in the evenings. Started doing that about 6 years ago. So I'll do a little comedy for you in here today. I won't be doing any stand-up, but I'll do some comedy. Thank you very much. Yeah. My brain's a little twisted, all right? So it's all right to laugh. What's better than having a bunch of people all laugh together, you know, brings us together. And I gotta say too, like, you know, sometimes when the tears dry up, and been through a painful experience, crack a few jokes, right? Sense of humor just really helped me get through this whole thing, and they say laughter's the best medicine. So back to the story. I'm like clinging to life. They're trying to save my life in the hospital, and I'm making it real hard. I'm like hitting doctors, swinging at nurses, pulling tubes out. Got super aggressive. We do that a lot when we're really hurt like that. They had me in a drug-induced coma. The meds they gave me, I was reacting. I was seeing things. I thought the doctors and nurses were trying to kill me. So that's why I'm swinging at them. I would try to explain it to people. I couldn't, because there was a tube in my throat pumping air into my lungs, keeping me alive. Where it sat, it blocked off my vocal cords. I had no voice. So I'm a menace, man. They strapped me down to the bed. No more hitting anyone, no more pulling tubes out. Didn't just have the tube in my throat, 6 more down my ribcage area, each one the size of a garden hose for the collapsed lung. There's a tube fed up each nostril down the throat into the stomach. 1 pumped nutrients in. I was in no shape to eat. 1 popped the stomach infection I picked up in the hospital out of me that was making me real sick. The worst tube of all, about the size of your pinky finger, but much longer. You could possibly guess where that went, guys. Yeah, awkward moans and a butt twitch usually means you know what I'm talking about. It goes down in this very sensitive region, and I'm not going to go into any vivid detail why nobody wants a catheter, because I'm sure you can figure that out for yourselves. I didn't want that either. That was my summer. I look back, start with a party, start with a good time, start hanging with family, start hanging with friends, beautiful sunshiny weekend like right now. They started weaning me off the medication. That was a big thing too. I got hooked on the meds they were giving me in the hospital. We see this more and more these days. Prescription drugs, painkillers, opiates. A lot of people getting hooked on them. I'll shoot straight with you up here, like in high school, me and my friends, I got into drugs early. We did a lot of drugs through high school. And one thing I never messed with, I'm not bragging or anything, but one thing I never messed with was pills. And it was as simple as like my best buddy who I always party with, like handed me a couple oxys at a party one time. I took them, they did nothing. I was like, I won't do those again. If they had done something, knowing me, man, I could have went down that path. Got hooked on them. I'm judging anyone with addiction issues by any means. What I'm saying is it's that simple. My buddy, Tim, they did something for him. He kept taking them and taking them and taking them. He's taking a lot of oxys, a lot of perks. He's not the same guy, man. We weren't hanging out anymore. He's hanging with different people. Same hairdresser, probably could use a visit right now. It's been about a month, but I get the odd update on him. Last one, he'd been arrested for selling heroin and fentanyl. This is like the smartest, most funniest, like talented dude. And those drugs just took him down that path. And I was hoping one day, he'd pull it together, like he'd come back, like be the same old dude. And I was down in Southern California last April, doing some speaking gigs there. I got a text from one of our mutual friends. He's like, yo man, I don't know if you heard, but Timmy's dead. My buddy walked into a gym, he's working out, he just got clean. 43 years old, pretty young, drops dead, heart attack. Started doing like steroids and stuff in high school. He's a pretty big guy. It's not too good on your heart, right? I guess just that and the pills and all the other stuff. He just did a number on his heart. Dropped dead from a heart attack. It's like my best buddy, man. We just lost a family friend right before I came down here, 26 years old. Fentanyl overdose. Man, this stuff is killing a lot of people. I know some stats in the US because I just did a podcast with Miss Oregon. I know her because I spoke in her school and her brother's school. Her brother really liked the presentation, got a tattoo afterwards. He died from fentanyl overdose. It just keeps happening. There'll be some contact info up there after if you want to check it out, a lot of information on this stuff. Man, be careful out there. Of course, best options, don't do drugs. But I'll throw it out there. Some people are gonna do whatever they do no matter what I say. If you're trying that stuff, doing any drug these days, because people are cutting all kinds of things with that fentanyl. Best assume, man, that stuff could kill you. Any of it could kill you. So I never got into it personally, but I had a glimpse of the addiction. I was in the hospital. I got hooked on that stuff in there. They started weaning me off it, a little less each day. Kind of was like understanding I'm in a hospital. Didn't know what had happened. Nobody's told me what had happened. They're worried if I learn what had happened, I give up, I quit fighting. One day I started to ask questions. You know how moms are. My mom took the whole summer off work. She's by my hospital bed every day. She's learned to read my lips since I had no voice. My mom was reading my lips that day. I started to ask questions, and the first question I asked simply was, Mom, why can't I move? Why can't I move? I had no clue. There's my mom, about to break the bad news. News that broke her heart, but she learned it. Break it 10 times over, 1,000,000 times over, till my firstborn, only son, active guy. Skateboarder playing that video up there where you're coming in. That was me skating back in the day, all that footage, man. Active guy. His mom saying the words, Kevin, I'm very sorry, you're paralyzed. Paralyzed. Now I know I lose shock factor, I'm a guy in a wheelchair saying I'm paralyzed. I gotta tell you, when I'm your age, there's no wheelchair. If you don't quite understand, being paralyzed means I didn't know what it was before. Our brains send messages down our spinal cord. Our body moves, feels, does everything according to those messages. You damage the spinal cord, messages don't get through. Maybe they partially get through. For me, what happened is like when the car was rolling, my head's getting whipped around. And if you look at like an MRI in my spinal cord, there's a tiny little dot, like a little like pinhead dot. And it's a bruise. It bruised the cord. It doesn't heal. And that was enough for the messages not to get through. Chest up, armpits, full movement, feeling, grateful for my hands. But below that, no voluntary movement, partial, kind of patchy, numb feeling at best. Life changer, game changer. Young, healthy, active, you know, like, can you imagine? Just wake up one day and half your body isn't moving. And there's no fixing it. Instantly. Bad choice. Done. That's it. I remember Mom being like, Kev, it's why you can't move your legs. I tried to move my legs, it didn't go. I'm terrified, I'm freaking out. That never happened before. I thought a little simpler, maybe I could just wiggle my toes, because that's easier, right? Just wiggling your toes. You might have just wiggled your toes when I said that. Maybe you're wiggling your toes right now. At some point, I hope you will wiggle your toes and walk out of here wiggling your toes and thinking about what you heard, you know, today. Think about those things you love doing, the things you plan to do. I went to a school the other day and the student's like, yo, I recognize you. Couldn't remember my name, but he's like, just look at your toes, dude. And I'm like, you know what? Way more important than my name. You remember something today? Take that with you, you never know. Hopping in a car one day, maybe in a situation you don't want to be in. Maybe just waking up and everything sucks and just wiggle your toes and a little more appreciation for that day, you know. Get you through whatever it is. Just wiggle your toes. I'm pretty positive up here. This wasn't how I was when this first went down. It took a while. I remember just being like, thinking my life was over and wanting some good news. I wanted my friends to be okay. I couldn't remember who was with me. I'm like guessing, run out of names, feeling all like, okay, it was just me, the worst was over. Mom said, no, Brendan was with me, my hockey buddy, baseball buddy, grew up playing all kinds of sports. Brendan and my sister Allison went to like prom together. They were super close. Our family's real close. I was thinking random. I remember seeing him that night. How's he doing, Mom? Where's Brendan at? And Mom looked at me and was like, Kev, Brendan died. Brendan's dead. I'm really sorry. I'm sort of just drop that on you like that because I don't know if you quite knew what you were walking into today. Not easy to hear. Never gets easier to say. I could crack wheelchair jokes all day long, making light of this. I got no jokes about my buddy dying, man. A friend died in my car because I drove drunk, fast, reckless, distracted. Took risks I didn't need to take. Enough prepares a person for news like that. My mom was like, we heard he hopped in your car. Last minute, he was found in your car with his funeral. I'm thinking, like, he just died. They can save him. There's a chance. I didn't know weeks had passed. I didn't know my friend had been cremated. They're not saving him. They're not bringing him back. And then I think of his parents, just like another gut punch. His younger brothers, his little sister, another gut punch. His grandparents, most of our hockey games, patting us on the back. We walk off the ice. The rest of his friends, man, everyone who cares for and loves Brendan. What have I done to these people? I ruined their lives. And I don't know a word, I don't know a series of words I can share with you right now to describe the feeling. I can tell you it's a feeling I wish on no one anywhere. And that is why I sit in front of you right now, microphone in hand, sharing this story. Like, I don't need to know you to never wish a story like this upon you. And the fact I've been to this school before and so welcomed again, and I was stoked when I seen you on my list. I feel connection here. I'll double down and say it again. I never want this kind of thing to happen to you guys, so please learn it from me today. Don't learn it yourselves. I asked how his family was doing. My mom told me they were struggling, trying to get through each day. Told me his parents were calling her house, asking how I was doing. So they stopped Brendan's funeral, had everyone pray for me. I was on life support at that time. Had a donation set up for me. I'm picturing my sisters thinking someone drank and drove high, drove distracted, did anything like that, killed one of my little sisters. Am I gonna support that person? Raise money for them? I'm thinking my mom is just telling me this about his family supporting. I can't make sense of that after I just took away Brendan. But it's like I want to believe it was real because it just gave me something positive, some kind of like hope. Maybe I'll get through this. And I wasn't convinced in there I wanted to get through, I deserve to. I'm asking questions. Why did I live? Why did Brendan die? Why am I here? Do I deserve to be alive? And I was thinking, no, I don't, after what I've done. I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe I just pull the breather out, stop breathing, end it. Easier, fair. I'm out, done. But I couldn't pull the plug. I remember laying in that bed thinking, you killed your friend, your life is over, it can never get better, you're paralyzed. End it. And then be like, nah, but I want to live. I want to live. Kind of like I make a choice that day and I'm here. So you know the choice I made? I'm not going to blow smoke, tell you it's been an easy road. I can tell you with it to shred it out, man. I'm sure you can feel it. There's no regrets on that choice. Seeing this thing through. Waking up, seeing it another day. Being here with all you. Not one bit. And it wasn't just like, yo, I want to live. Hook me up with a wheelchair with some big tires. Throw some punk rock stickers on the back. Take me to the skateboard park. That did happen eventually. But there's a checklist of things I would need to learn first. Learning to breathe was high on that list. My collapsed lung, I had to slowly learn how to breathe again. Breathing through a hole in my throat, gasping for air, so weak I would run out of breath, thinking I would never get another one, terrified I might die, suffocate. It went on for a week and a half. Finally, they're like, you're strong enough. The breather came out. I got my voice back that day. That was so amazing. I was so happy just to talk. I hadn't said a word through any of this 6 weeks. I got moved out of intensive care as soon as I was off the breather. For a while, they're only my parents, my sister, that's when people could see me. But now I was out of the area, people could come, my friends could come see me. People look at me in that shape, they'd cry. And it was the hardest partying, fastest driving buddies, big guys, tough dudes, who cry the hardest. And I get it, I'm sure they're looking at me thinking, how many nights, how many reckless drives, how many benders, how easy that could be us, laid out, paralyzed, in a hospital bed. Or worse yet, one of us who just killed our buddy. I'd always try to cheer him up. I'd be like, yo, dude, it's not so bad in the hospital. I'd be like, that nurse, me, sponge bath, yeah. They'd laugh. And they were cleaning me up, but it wasn't like that, dude, my body's all paralyzed, broken, I'm peeing myself, crapping myself. They were cleaning me up, that's why they were cleaning me up. No laughs, all right. It always gets awkward if you don't laugh at that point. But that's okay. I felt awkward before. There's nothing more awkward than trying to look all chill in front of a nurse after you just crapped your pants. All right, moving forward. Big day came where I could eat and drink again. Very excited about that. No more lime green nutrients fed through this tube in my nostril. Big list of food I wanted to eat. I've been eating real good here in Tampa since I've been here. There was nowhere on my list was there water and canned pears. That was the first meal. It was explained, a precautionary measure, they would diet blue. You don't use your muscles, they forget how to work. The breathing muscles did that to tell me the eating muscles did that. So I had to eat the food, swallow the water, then they stuck a tube down the hole in my throat that was still healing to my lungs and suctioned out to make sure there wasn't blue dye in my lungs. I passed the eating test, all excited, what am I eating next? But then a moment of like, whoa, I'm celebrating the act of eating, the fact I can do it, breathing, just using the toilet, speaking, like those little things in life, I'd say we take for granted. I used to. 2 months to have the basics under control. I got to leave the hospital, but still not home. They figured another like 4 or 5 months of rehabilitation and one day roll out of there in a wheelchair. And it was other things too between then, like wake up, roll over, get out of bed, shower, dry off, get dressed. Try getting a pair of pants on, getting on a pair of jeans, sitting down in a chair. Like, don't move your legs, no hips, no abs, no back. How do you get those jeans on? Don't get me started on skinny jeans. I still got a few pairs. I don't wear them too often. Metal shows only, right? Just to roll over in bed. Hours of therapy every day. What they show me is rock the muscle I've left up top, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Felt one day I threw my arm over, rolled over in bed. We were cheering. A couple months before that, I don't know if you got any skateboarders in here. I'm out doing switch hard flips, tray flips. I'm up on a mountain doing like switch 360 grabs over tabletops, learning 540s on a snowboard, and now my new trick is flipping my body over in bed. It's 4 months of rehabilitation till I managed to shower and dress myself all on my own. I was calling my buddies up. Yo, dude, guess what? Shower, dress myself today. Only took me 2.5 hours. Imagine your buddy making that call, right? Like, my friends are kind of like, what? But they're also like, yo, man, keep it going. You're getting better. You'll be home soon. Some buddies didn't answer the phone, respond to the message, show up to visit. They later say, I couldn't see you like that, dude. I didn't know what to say. I think it's human nature. We always want to say the right thing, make it better, have magic words, right? But I'd say the best we can do to support often is just show up. You don't have to say anything. Just be there. My favorite visit from my buddy, the only words he said was, I got you, dude. And he walked across that hospital room, big smile on his face. I'm laying in this hospital bed, and he plugs earbuds in my ear. And he cranks his punk rock band I love called No Effects. And for the rest of that afternoon, I listen to music. I don't hear people crying, screaming. I don't hear the sounds of the hospital, the alarms. I got tunes. And I bet you all probably got a playlist or an artist or an album, like a bad day, rough week, Plug it in, crank it up, tune it out, right? My buddy gave me that gift. I'll never forget it. That was such a great day. Visits from Robin, my girlfriend, little bumpy. Robin was like an honor roll, straight A student, scholarship, school of her choice, lined up. Dating a dude nicknamed the Creature. They say opposites attract, right? Yeah, it's tough for her to watch by. That was the second vehicle I crashed since we've been dating. A lot of bad choices. A lot of bad choices. And it's just like, she loved me. She's just trying to help. And sometimes those girls a little wiser than us, a little more responsible than us, I didn't really listen to her too often. I'd kind of nod and yeah. Same with my parents. A lot of people trying to talk sense to me, I look back now and I'd say if we have that, someone looking out for us who loves us, it's a pretty sweet deal. You have that choice, you listen or you ignore. I chose to ignore. I should have listened. I don't blame Robin really looking back, man. She had to do her own thing. Broke my heart. I was crushed. On top of everything else, I'm just she's gone now too. Suicidal thoughts returned. I couldn't get out of the hospital bed though if I tried to do something about it. So in hindsight, good thing I was there. There was an IV in my arm. They started putting antidepressants in me, trying to pull me out of that spiral. I'm gonna be up here pumping antidepressants, trying to be like any expert on that. But I will say, as someone who's been in pretty low places, suicidal thoughts, depression. You're not going to empathize anyone struggling with that stuff. 1 in 5 people, they say, struggle with their mental health. Hey, we're not alone. And none of us has to take this world on alone. If it's not manageable, it's all right to ask out, like get some help, get some support. Straight up. They send in a counselor to talk to me. I don't want to talk to a counselor, but I couldn't run away, so guess I'm talking to a counselor today, right? And you know what, when I look back, that was the first time I shared this story in any great detail or depth with somebody I didn't know. And now every day, pretty much 2 schools every day, I share this story. Rooms full of people I don't know. And it's still kind of the same feeling, you know, like it's getting it out. I'm dealing with it, I'm working through it. I'm owning it. And you know, if you walk out here, some of you, but I'd love it if it was all of you, just wiggling your toes, maybe in a little bit more safe drivers, make more responsible choices, just anything. Something positive from our time together. Then a very sad, tragic, negative story became less sad, tragic, negative today. We can take those things that hurt us, broke us, honor those people we love, we lost, do something with those hurtful, negative experiences, turn them into something positive for others, for ourselves. Man, that is the greatest healer of all. I didn't see that coming when I started doing this. But I tell you, on the worst of days, man, this has saved me so many times. It was about 6 months in total till I got out of the rehabilitation center hospital. Life was different, like wheelchair accessibility. I never thought about that before. I think the fact that I was a skateboarder kind of helped because I'm still on 4 wheels, you know? And rather than cruising around looking for like handrails and gaps and greased up ledges, now I'm just trying to find like ramps and like level ground and elevators, right? Like truly, like we adapt. We're solving problems every day. Our bodies, our brains, man, we adapt, we figure things out. If we don't give up, we find a way. One of the first big journeys we took, my mom, my little sister Haley, that's her tattooed right here. She was like 5 at the time. And I got her on here, man, because like, I don't know if you got a little kid in your lives, but on the worst days, man, my little sister, she'd run over, jump on my lap. Can I have a ride? I'd be like, all right. Yeah, Haley, I do it for her, you know? She'd get away with anything too, my little sister. A lot of people, when I first started in the wheelchair, like, they're kind of awkward. They don't know what to say, right? My little sisters run right up. And first she'd be like, let's race. She always want to have a running race? Yeah, because she can like beat me now. Which is funny, like she's a little kid. If there's an adult out there racing handicapped people because they can run faster, okay, kind of funny too, but monster. My sister, not a monster, right? Like, it was cute, dude. And she's winning every race, but the lake, like, it was all freshly paved. Stop. So Haley wins, and I'm all like laughing, and she's laughing, and it was, I don't know, warmed my heart, but it broke it too. Because there was this like moment of like, oh, yeah, I guess no more jumping in the lake with my little sister. There's a bunch of those. Like, I think of that night with Brendan, many nights like that. If I'd have pictured that first time when I was babysitting Haley, and I'm like, let's go to the playground. And I've been working out, so I'm like, I could probably roll her on my lap that whole mile, you know? I got there. But the whole playground was like surrounded in a log. And then inside was these like tiny, tiny little pebbles. And I know I'm not rolling in those. And I sat on the sidelines. I watched someone else push my little sister on the swings. Someone else help her up and down the slide. I'm fighting back tears right now. I'm not ashamed to cry, but I just feel like if I started right now, I wouldn't be able to stop. I was crying that day, man. That's my little sister. And there's guilt behind those tears for me a lot. I killed my buddy, man. He can't even hang with his family. They don't even get to see him. But I can definitely feel it while I'm watching my little sister every birthday. Cake and candles come out. Mom or dad are like, Haley, make a wish. She'd never say a word. She'd just stare at me. I knew what that looked meant. I knew my little sister's only wish. It just break my heart. You know, back in those days, making all those crazy choices, oftentimes I wasn't too concerned what might happen to me. But you know, I think about it like, the choices we make, they don't just affect us. Bad choices, terrible consequences. Oh, it hurts that people love us more than it ever hurts us. I had to make some good choices on that lakeside. I found if I got the chair in a wheelie, yo, dude, stage that? No, if I got the chair in a wheelie, the front tires is what was like digging into the sand. That's why I was getting stuck. So I kept her in a manual and a wheelie. I got down to the lake. I kind of splashed with the chair with my little sister. This is Canada too. There's no alligators, if anyone's thinking that. Grizzly bears in the woods, but no alligators in the lake. We had that moment, and I remember being like, I'm coming back to this lake one day. I felt like connected to it. And then I met this guy, Rick Hansen. He rolled the circumference of the world in a wheelchair many years ago. Super inspirational dude. He suggested I do maybe like a fundraiser for his organization. I was like, yeah, I'm into that. Let's go swim that lake. Trained for 6 months. Went to like skateboard shops, surf shop, restaurants I knew, the gym. Can we have some prizes for like donation? Yeah. So many people jumped on board this positive thing. 6 months later, swam the lake. They invited me to speak in a school about it. That's how this journey started. You know, one good choice, and that snowballed. 20 years now I've been doing this. 20 years. 8 provinces across Canada, 34 states and counting. Before I could really get going though, especially coming down here, I would face the charges against me: dangerous driving causing death, impaired driving causing death. Very serious charges. And like, real talk, Canada, the laws are a little different than here. Definitely the prison system's different than here. You get one of those charges here, you're going to jail. No matter what, like a long time. The judge, Razat, he had some discretion. Pled guilty, his words, in his opinion, the life sentence I'd imposed upon myself was worse than any bars he'd ever put me behind. But more in my favor than that, I guess, staying out of jail. The night before, I got a phone call from Brendan's parents. And they're like, Kev, we talked to everyone today. Like, we're in your corner. We did everything we could. We wish you luck tomorrow. They went to bat for me. They kept me to jail. They gave me a second chance. That's what I do with it. Right before I came down here, I was speaking near home, doing a lot of these, you know, thousands. I recognized the theater. I remember a young guy coming up to me after a talk, and he's like, hey man, it's gonna sound weird, but your buddy Brendan, he was here today. I could feel him, I could see him. After that, I always put a chair on the stage with me. A couple years after that, my buddy Jordan killed himself. I got that phone. I love that dude too, man. I got that phone call at a school right before I got introduced. Cried my eyes out. Honor my buddy though. Shared a piece of his story. Oh, inbox of my messages lit up that day. A new mission was born: mental health, suicide prevention, another chair. Another buddy named Chris was shot and killed. Figure it was kind of gang, drug related, but he was just at the bar drinking beers with buddies. He walked into the bar, someone's being shot, or into the bathroom, and he gets shot too. He's my family, friends, a young daughter, spoke that day. Shared a bit of his story, some tears. Young man came out, the audience, gave me a big hug. He was crying. He lost his brother to gang violence. Shootings, stabbings, swarmings, jumpings, bullying, cyberbullying. Man, like there's a lot of cruelty out there right now. In a time when we need love more than ever. And I'll say, as someone in high school, I was not nice to a lot of people. I'll admit that. I was a bully to people. I used his voice in a negative way. I get people reach out to me like, oh, you speak in schools now? You're some kind of hero? You made every day of my high school live in hell. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, what can I do? I try to make it better. To be up here now using that voice for kindness, for love, to try to help, man. No regrets on that. This feels good. Another chair, another mission. And then my other skateboard buddy named Chris, he's in the video about to show you. dropped me on a mini ramp. It's all tagged up for me. He smoked a joint with fentanyl in it, and he overdosed and died. Don't know if he put the fentanyl in it or someone else did. I don't know if we ever will. He ain't here. Another friend, another chair, another mission. 5 chairs on the stage. Only one of us can share the story. Press play.
If I ever leave this world alive, well, thank you for the things you did in my life. If I ever leave this world alive, I'll come back down and sit beside your feet tonight. Wherever I am, you'll always be more than just a memory. If I ever leave this world alive, if I ever leave this world alive, I'll take on all the sadness that I left behind. If I ever leave this world alive, the madness that you feel will soon subside. So in a word, don't shed a tear. She says, I'm okay, I'm alright. Though you have gone from my life, you said that it would. Now everything should be alright. She says, I'm okay, I'm alright. Though you have gone from my life, you said that it would. Now everything should be alright. Yeah, it should be alright.
Do it for those guys. That was her story. I'm grateful you could be in here today. If this hit you and kind of triggered, reach out to someone. Don't keep it in. It's all about like reaching out, getting support. You can reach out to me. There's me contact info coming up real quick. One more little clip though first. I like ending with that video because I get to play Black Sabbath in schools every day. Like, I'm rocking a Guns N' Roses shirt under this. Also, of course, like, a huge part of this message is never giving up, never losing hope, right? Also, that video happened because of one of you. Like, not necessarily one of you in this room, but it was a student. I was at a comedy show speaking to another new comedian. She's like, oh, you spoke in my high school years ago. Cool. What are you doing now? She graduated, went to university. She's an engineer working on exoskeleton suits. She makes a few calls, gets me up in that thing. I take my first steps in 17 years. One student got me up taking those steps. One student made my little sister Haley's wish to see her big brother walk again one day. Finally come true. That's what I think about when I look at that video. I want to look out at this many students. I think a lot of stories in progress. And I hope today you leave this room just wiggling your toes, thinking about your story, how to make it a good one, how to make it a great one, how to make it a long one, make a positive impact on this world. Someone else's story's down, pick them up, don't kick them when they're down. If your story's not in a good place, you're not making good choices, flip the page, start a new chapter, it's your story. It can be a reminder of our story to help you along in yours. Final words, just wiggle your toes. You've been amazing. Thanks for having me back. Take care, everybody. Oh, thank you. Glad. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, guys.